Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the bus, Mark Johnson here. We got another Ralphie's Rundown with Rick. We grabbed the athletic director and we tour around the Champion Center talking about all that's gone on the last couple of months here at the University of Colorado. Of course, we're going to talk about the hiring of Coach Prime, changing the football program. What a fall it was for volleyball, NCAA tournament, Pac-12 women's cross-country championship, and an individual title. Also, we're talking men's basketball. Tad Boyle becomes the winningest coach in men's basketball history. Great start for J.R. Payne and the women. And we're talking NIL and Buff Club information for the Buffs team store as well. That's coming up on Ralphie's Rundown with Rick.
It's official at the University of Colorado Boulder. We're ready for prime time. What do you say?
Wow, Colorado, you showed up and you showed out. This is unbelievable, and this is my job and my occupation and my business and my dream to bring you back to where you know you should belong.
Well, I think Buff Nation is going to remember that date, December 4th. That's when Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, became the head coach here at the University of Colorado. Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the boss, Mark Johnson. Welcome to Ralphie's Rundown with Rick. This is Rick. Rick George, the athletic director here at the University.
In case you forgot who I was.
In case you forgot. Well, I've been seeing you. You've been awful busy as of late, right?
Right, yeah.
It has been a whirlwind month since that December. Well, probably before that for you, but for all of us, December 4th. I mean, the whole building has changed since then.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, he's brought an energy to our department that we haven't seen, and to our fan base, our community, and our university, and to the state of Colorado. And it's been overwhelming at times in a positive way,
yeah.
You know, right? Because there is a lot of interest in what we're doing, and merchandise sales are off the charts, and our social media engagements are up significantly. There's just a lot of positive things that are happening around that hire, and and that's not even to say what's going on in recruiting.
Yeah, well, without question, we'll talk about that. You've got to help us understand a little bit, okay? You start on a coaching search, right? And people are thinking kind of normal coaching names we see, and I say that because Deion Sanders is a different creature. I mean, he's one of one, as I've said many times. How does he become identified to be a target for you?
It's funny. I just looked back at my list that I wrote down, and he was the #1 guy on the list.
Really?
From day one. And,
yeah.
We had a lot of help, and this wasn't certainly just me. I had a lot of help with a lot of colleagues that I have around the industry and the business, and some that are tied to Colorado that really were helpful in this process. But, we said to our fans that we were going to go out and we were going to hire the best coach that we possibly could for Colorado. And we shot high, and that's where we wanted to be. And just like he's doing in recruiting, he's recruiting 4 and 5 stars, and that's where we should be at Colorado. And he's the perfect fit for us at the perfect time.
As we all know, he's such a dynamic human being, and so he brings something beyond the X's and O's to this job. Your first conversation, you sit down for the first time with Coach Prime.
Well, the first conversation we had was in my bedroom, because that's the only place that I can have Wi-Fi in my house that works. And so we had about an hour conversation.
Little Zoom conversation.
Yes,
yeah.
and it was really more of to gauge his interest, to really tell him about the opportunity.
Okay.
We told him the good things and the bad things, and we had we just felt comfortable with each other, and then we had one in-person meeting. And that was it. Okay. And the in-person meeting was at his house, and we spent about 3 hours, and I shared with him, more things, and he shared with me his plan. And now he's executing that plan.
Give Buff Nation a sense of what's been altered here. I mean, in terms of where we're at with season tickets, that's open right now. Sponsorships, donations. I mean, it's been kind of crazy, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. I mean, if you look at our season tickets, we're already at a 45% renewal rate, where we would normally be at a 20%. By February 2nd, the deadline of that, we'll be at 95% that we haven't touched. We've already sold 750 season tickets, and we've got an 11,000 waiting list that we're vetting now. We strongly believe that somewhere in the summer we will be at capacity for season tickets, and then we've just got this great schedule. And then if you look at the social media, in just football alone, their followers have grown by 50,000 since he's been here. Our merchandise sales are up 600–700%. So there's just so many positive things that have come with this, and I didn't anticipate it to be this big. But when we went to the Post for luncheon, we came out and we walked to the car, there were people, Coach Prime, welcome to Boulder,
Right,
welcome to Boulder, and people are really excited.
Oh, it's like walking around campus with Elvis, for goodness sakes, when you're with Coach Prime.
Yeah, a little bit like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's such an iconic figure. What he's done from a recruiting standpoint, you touched on that off the top. It really is amazing, because when you look at, the speculations around the country about where these different classes are, Colorado's name is being mentioned at the top with everybody else.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's shooting, for the stars just like we did, and he's shooting for those 5 stars and 4 stars, and he's going to bring the right people in that want to be at Colorado, that are going to play here, and he's done an incredible job at this point, and there's still more to be done. So there's still more coming, and then January 17th, we'll have a number of transfers that'll be on our campus.
You think about that schedule next season, and it is a huge schedule. We're going to open up with a team that's playing for the national championship in TCU down at Fort Worth. Can you imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like right back here on September 9th when you've got Nebraska coming to town? Coach Prime has his first game at Folsom Field.
Yeah, look, I mean, that stadium needs to be filled with black and gold.
Yeah.
It will be packed. There'll be people hanging off the rafters, even though we don't have rafters, except in Balch Fieldhouse.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be dynamic. The atmosphere is going to be great, and just the energy around our community and around Boulder and Denver and that, it's going to be special.
Hertenstein open up in stride.
Hertenstein full stretch now. The transfer from Indiana is closing on Venters. And here comes Bailey Hertenstein. Look at Bailey Hertenstein go. She is going all out and all the way home. Bailey Hertenstein wins the Pac-12 2022 championship.
Well, the Buffs' Bailey Hertenstein taking home the trophy for Pac-12 champion in cross country, along with the women, by the way. So we continue with Rick George here on Ralphie's Rundown with Rick. You always talk about here at Colorado, we compete and win championships.
Right.
Well, cross country does that a lot.
They do it a lot, and they've done a great job. And Mark and Heather and their staff have done a great job. The student athletes, I mean, they're not only elite athletically, they're elite academically, and that program always has great students that represent that program. And Bailey Hertenstein, I watched that race, and we were screaming in my conference room, and the way she won that race and coming down the stretch was really impressive, and winning the Pac-12 championship for our women is really special.
Yeah, that's what you call a kick, by the way, at the end of that race.
That was a kick.
Yeah,
I don't have that.
No, neither of us. We used to, but not anymore. There's no doubt about that. So the women win the championship, men finish in top 5. Bailey comes home with the women's crown. You frequently gone out and worked out with some different athletes. You ever run with Bailey?
No, I can't run at that level or that long.
Right, exactly right. Hey, Mark Wetmore, here you talk about his program and all the winning and all the accolades he gets. He was just nominated, or I should say inducted, into a National Hall of Fame for cross country.
National Track Cross Country Hall of Fame. So that's pretty special, and it's kind of who he is. I mean, he's one of the best, if not the best, in the business.
Yeah, that's a program Mark doesn't have to worry a whole lot about, right? You just win. They just go out and compete, and they graduate. Speaking of graduation, by the way, how about the graduation rate for the fall semester here at the University of Colorado with our athletes? Record-setting 96%. 96%,
and we were over at 3.1 GPA again. Our student athletes, we talk about this all the time. We want them to compete on the playing surface. We want them to compete in the community. We want them to compete in the classroom, and they're just doing a phenomenal job. And like I said, our cross-country team and ski team, and I mean, they just do a phenomenal job of work in the classroom as well as on the playing surface.
We talk about it a lot in terms of the graduation rates, the GPAs, and what a great job we do here at Colorado. That group behind it, though, in the Herbst Academic Center, they maybe don't get enough accolades for the hard work they do with the student athletes.
Right. Look, Chris Livingston and her team, they do a great job, but it's a culture that we've created here. Our coaches have bought into it, our trainers, everybody is talking to them about academics and how are you doing, and our student athletes are just achieving at a very high level, and we need to win more championships in all of our sports, but the fact that Pac-12 championship for our cross-country team for our women, that's great, and we just need more of those.
Lastly, you're talking about teams competing at a high level. How about the volleyball team going to the NCAA tournament this year?
Yeah, that was great. It was good to see them get to the tournament. They got a pretty tough draw, in my opinion, going down to play Rice at Baylor. But they had a great season, and they competed at a very high level, which is exactly what we want. And they were a lot of fun to watch. They've got a lot of talent on that team. They've got a lot of talent coming back. So we're looking forward to the future. But the fact that they made the NCAA tournament, that was really important.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate our fan base. 12.5 years ago when we got here, we've built something special, and this accomplishment does not happen alone. And I've had a lot of support and a lot of love. And the one thing I want you fans to know is we are not done yet. I've never felt more excited about the future of Colorado basketball than I do today. And it's because of these players, the ones we got coming in, and the ones we're going to keep recruiting. So thank you very much. I love you all. Go Buffs.
There it is, number 262. As we continue on Ralphie's Rundown with Rick.
Yeah, you don't have one of those.
I don't have one of these.
I know.
How did I not get one of these T-shirts?
Right.
Tad Boyle becomes the winningest coach in Colorado men's basketball history as he surpasses the legendary Sox Walseth. We continue with the athletic director. That was a big night. Really amazing, you know. And you got here after Rick was hired. I was here when Tad rather came in 13 seasons ago. And you wondered at that time, could he build this thing? What he's done with this program really is astounding, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I give a lot of credit to Mike Bone, you know, for hiring him when he did. And, you know, what Tad's done since I've been here has been pretty phenomenal. You know, he's recruiting at a high level. He's turned out some great NBA players, and, you know, and they just win. And, you know, they're fun to watch. They're exciting to watch. I think next year's going to be even better. But, you know, I feel really good about, you know, what his team's doing at this point.
Yeah, it's been amazing what Tad has done, the consistency during the course of his career, the 21 seasons, NCAA tournaments. You knew Sox Walseth. You know what he meant to this program, both as a men's coach and a women's coach.
Right, and no question. I mean, Sox has done amazing things here, and for Tad to tick off that record, that was really a high watermark to get to. And I tell Tad he's just getting old.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That's how you become a legend. You get old, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah, I give Tad a hard time about that all the time. You know, you think about what Tad has done within the confines of college athletics. We always talk about he's done it the right way, as we well know.
Yes.
He's competed at the highest levels of this sport. That's why I think he's become such a darling with the fans here at Buff Nation.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, he goes out there and he's passionate about the young men that he leads and he coaches, and you know, they're fun to watch. They're exciting. They play great defense. When they play great defense, that's when we're at our best. But they do a great job, and you know, he's done some great things, and he just had a birthday last week, and so again, he's getting older and he's become a legend.
There's no doubt about that.
I called him the GOAT. I said, you know, you are who you are.
Exactly right. 262 wins. By the way, he's taxed them on since that one. But we're getting a bit of a view of your office here. I don't think anybody knows about that corner of your office.
Oh yeah, the Barbie Dream House. That's for the granddaughters and any other young people that want to come in here. Sometimes I get bored and I go in there and play with Barbies, but you know, that's what we do.
That's right. It's a family affair here at the University of Colorado with the athletic director, Rick George, as we continue. Let's switch on over to women's basketball. What a great start J.R. Payne and company have had. They had a great season a year ago, and they're really kind of adding to that now. 12-3 start, doing a great job in Pac-12 conference play, and they're off to a wonderful start of this campaign.
Yeah, they really are. They're fun to watch. I got a chance to sit down and watch the whole Washington State game on TV, and just the way they play, and Arnetta, the things that she's doing out there as the post, and she had an incredible game, and you got Quay and you got Jay, and you know, they've just got a really good balanced team, and you know, look what they're doing. They're 2-1 in the conference. They've already got to 12 or 13 wins, and you know, they're just getting better as the year goes on, and that's what you want. And this will be if they get back to the NCAA tournament, which I'm hopeful that they do. It'd be the first time since 2003 and 4 that we've gone back to back. See, I knew that. You probably didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, there you go.
You're informing me right now.
I'm going to interview you right now.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. And one thing I think it really illustrates, Rick, you know, when a coach comes in, and you as the athletic director have got to kind of evaluate this, the building process, right? Sometimes early on, maybe the wins weren't where you wanted, but you had to look at it and say, okay, she's building something here, and you trusted that. Yeah,
you know, look, I mean, when we did the press conference, you know, some of the questions was, well, you know, her record overall. I said, but if you look at her record from the time she gets there to when she finishes, it's always better. And it's the same thing that's happening here. You know, last year was the first year we've been to the NCAA tournament. You know, we've only been one other time since I've been here in 10 years. And now she gets us back, and we got a chance to go back to back. And that's the building process that she's put into place, and her staff has been fairly consistent with Coach T and with Alex Earl there. I mean, those two have been constants, and you know, she's done a great job leading that team.
Okay, lastly here, we're friends. Can you get me one of those T-shirts?
I'm going to see what I can do.
I
you doing?
Great, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Taylor.
Taylor, oh.
We're so excited to have you.
Have a seat.
Awesome, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I hear that something's been weighing on your soul.
Yeah.
Tell me what's got you scared of Ralphie.
Ralphie's a buffalo.
I'm loyal.
Let's start right there.
I spent a lot of time with her.
I'm scared. Yeah, we gotta meet. You gotta arrange
Oh,
a meeting
absolutely.
so we could
100%. We'll
talk
do
it
a
out,
meeting.
chat it up.
She'll love you.
Yeah, so we could meet at a disclosed location.
Sure.
But you gotta, tell her a little bit about me.
I will.
So she,
We've already told her all about you.
she
She's
understands
very
how I move and how I get down.
No.
Well, there's a burgeoning relationship building between Coach Prime and Ralphie, I think. There's Taylor Stratton. She's a program manager for Ralphie. Meeting with Coach Prime, trying to get him to understand what Ralphie's all about. Back on Ralphie's Rundown with Rick. We continue with the athletic director here at the Buffs Team Store, by the way, in the Champion Center. This is where you come to get, right here, your Prime gear. Look at the model we've got here today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, you talk about Ralphie and Taylor and all that and Coach Prime. I can't wait to see Snoop Dogg run out with them. I mean, because I'm understanding that's going to happen.
Coach said it was going to happen. So
Right.
we're expecting that deal, but the new Prime gear around here, well, it's everywhere.
Well, it's just flying off the shelf, so I'm glad I was able to get one today and put it on. But yeah, it's really great to have these jerseys and Coach Prime. And, it's a lot of fun to see this flying off the shelves.
So, in regards to his relationship with Ralphie, when you had that initial meeting with Coach Prime we talked about, you didn't have maybe a descriptor as to what Ralphie was all about? So
well, we talked about Ralphie.
Okay.
And we talked about that she's a female.
Right.
And we talked about the fact that you're going to have to run quick to keep up with her. But beyond that, we really didn't talk that much about it.
He was a little concerned that he had to run out ahead of Ralphie, but I'm glad Taylor explained to him, no, you follow Ralphie out of the Thunder chute.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, one thing we talk about in college athletics right now, the NIL and the importance of that, and all the excitement with what Coach Prime has brought to the program, it's awful important right now for Buff Nation.
Yeah, it really is. And the NIL collective that the Buffs for Life created, and the Buffs for Life is an organization that really supports former student athletes that are in need, that need some help with different things. And so this is really a collaboration. They came to us and said, hey, we'd like to create this collective. It'll benefit former student athletes, but importantly, it'll benefit our current student athletes in all sports. Certainly in football, in all of our sports, it's a priority. Buffs for Life NIL collective is a really important part of that. We still have a NIL exchange that's really working well for our student athletes. So that's an area that we've just got to continue to support.
Yeah, important to point out the Buffs for Life collective, as Rick alludes to, part of your donation there goes to help former Buffs who are struggling with things, and then a good chunk of it obviously going to the student athletes as well. You mentioned the exchange. That's important, I think, for businesses out there to understand what that's all about.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a way for businesses to have some of our student athletes endorse and, provide social media tweets and clicks and all the different things that go on. I don't know all that stuff, but the student athletes do, and having businesses on there that, student athletes can support in a lot of ways and help grow their business. That's a really important part of our NIL initiative as well.
The other thing we need to talk about is the Buff Club aspect of this, and the dollars that are coming in for the university. You can talk to that as well.
Well, look, the Buff Club is really important. We need, it's one of those things where we need support in all those areas, right? And the Buff Club is really the mechanism that allows us to do a lot of the things, that allows us to create the programs for our student athletes, to build these incredible facilities. And, when you donate, you get priority points, and priority points are going to be important as you want to change locations around. So, we're encouraging people to support, both the Buffs NIL collective, the Buffs for Life NIL collective, and to support the Buff Club, because we do need your support.
Well, and you understand it's supply and demand, and right now the demand is going through the roof.
Yeah, the demand is going through the roof, and ticket sales are going to be incredibly great. We will sell out of season tickets sometime in the summer, and it's going to be a great fall. And we still got a lot of work to do this winter and this spring with all of our other sports, but I'm excited about what's ahead. Well,
we always like doing Ralphie's Rundown with Rick. Little did he know when we started today, he was going to have costume changes throughout the show.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Get your Prime gear here at the Buffs Team Store. He's the athletic director, Rick George. I'm voice of the boss, Mark Johnson. We'll do it again here in the very near future. We'll talk to you next time.